It's how I look for myself too. As a reminder.
Well, she passes being related. He just has.
I saw it.
Related.
Yeah, I saw you.
Who is?
She passes.
He must. Chris.
That mentions what I have in the institution. Yeah, but if I'm here, it's almost maybe.
Would you like to, my? No, I've never. There you
Well, there's three things on the agenda.
Oh.
Then we'll start adding.
We never got much.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Right. Cross these results related to the problems that are. Or is on those
Sure.
Parents should have already out there, or I have series of projects for second. Which are is because of our procedures. Given this to sheet. How much to turn, but it isn't. Yeah, that I think that I'm very so to that, so it is your. But our information for. Okay, make your life better. That's a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for this meeting. Yeah.
What?
Just, yes, she didn't talk about me. Thank you.
I am sure. Probably have. So you lining them up, but let's go. That's what they did. Listen. I saw you lining up the guys.
Oh, man, I need some more.
We saw.
2 and 1? I'm like, yeah, it's hot.
It looks like we're gonna have this clear into October, this kind of weather.
Hey,
It's just nice.
sure. It's a plan. I was hoping.
Not in the high seventies, but in the seventies.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call our regular council meeting of September 16th to order. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call
Warda,
here.
Olson,
Here.
Charters,
Here.
Stratton.
Here. Okay, and Ed is excused. All right, approval of the agenda.
The agenda, second.
Roll call,
Charters,
Yes.
Warda,
yes.
Olson.
Yep.
Stratton.
Yes. Okay, we have a request to appear before council. It's Chris Parrish, Vinci County PMS. Looking for community outreach, it sounds like.
Is this the stuff?
If
Wherever you're-
you're.
Okay, right, it's all nice to stand here. Thanks for having me. My name is Chris Parrish. I'm a full-time employee of Benton County EMS. And we kind of realized when we were going through our last village request, and we appreciate your support for that. We probably need to reach out to our other municipal partners that we work with. Just kind of give a little explanation of where we're at and where we're going, what we do, and if there's any questions that we have to answer. So this is really informal. And I'd encourage any questions that you have for me, I'll do my very best to answer. 2 seconds about me, grew up in Traverse City, moved to Benzie County in 2002. Started ride time at Benzie EMS, I think in 2008. Also a firefighter. I work at Green Lake or Interlochen as well as paramedic firefighter there. I've been doing it ever since then at Benzie for I think 10 years, somewhere there in a full-time capacity. So happy to be here, it's where I choose to work. We do appreciate your support for the village increase. It was from a 0.8 to a 0.9, so a small increase. That is a small village. I believe the statewide average is about 2 for a countywide. And so we are an efficient system. It is sort of a get what you pay for system. The more you pay for it, it's sort of like insurance, the more you have. But I think it's a pretty good fit for Benzie County. I don't like to pay any more taxes than anyone else does, and I feel pretty good about the service that we pay and what we get. We do about 3,000 calls a year, 911 calls, and we do transfers from Fall Oliver as well. We primarily run 2 24-hour trucks. One is sort of near Thompsonville Highway and US 31, or the fish hatchery there. There's a station there, and the other one is right across from Fall Oliver. We're excited to announce that sort of dilapidated house that they've been good enough to let us use for way too long.
Yeah.
We're almost free. It was worth every penny we paid for it. But we're building a station behind it, sort of on the county owns the Maples property there, which is pretty good size. And we have that's what we store the truck anyway, is we have a farm there. We're gonna add on to that, put a very nice station area there. And that'll sort of cement our commitment to the Frankfurt area. And it's gonna be the nicest station, so that's cool.
Plus, your response time is gonna be there because your ambulance is gonna be right there.
That's true, there is, one of the problems with the free house was, in the winter in particular, the ambulance would be down in the barn, which is, let's say, 50 yards, 40 yards away from the house, which would be all covered with snow and slippery and dark, and we would literally run, get your boots on and run down and almost fall, and then get in, unlock the door and start the truck, and it added a few minutes. And usually that's not the end of the world, but every minute does count, and we try to keep that time as short as possible. So yeah, that should help as well, thank you.
There was someone that got injured on a fallback, right?
At running, actually, he worked at, so when at Green Lake, initially, we were just a DLS transporting service, now there's ALS transporting. We intercepted with Blair and Ed Running, longtime employee here and there. And I think it's one of the most expensive work comp cases in history. The county got to pay for permanently insuring his back and becoming disabled on that very helpful side.
Makes sense all the way around, be down there.
If I can mitigate it, best mitigation is to eliminate the hazard, so I'm glad that we're gonna do that.
Can you just real quickly say BLS and ALS, just for those that don't know, can you explain that?
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for asking that. There are 4 licenses of emergency medical license in the state of Michigan and most states. You have EMR, emergency medical responder, you have EMT, EMT advanced, and paramedic. For the 2 that are most common are really EMT, which is, you can get that in 6 weeks of education. It's pretty intense. I like to see classes that are more like 6 months, so you can stretch it out for people that are doing it, but it is about that much. In order to be a paramedic, you have to be an EMT first, so you have to go through that licensing procedure, you have to function there, and then it's 2 years of college after that to be a paramedic. And EMR is a little bit less than EMT. It's a little less intellectually challenging. It's almost the same amount of time, but a little easier in that respect. And the intermediate specialist, that's pretty uncommon, but it's sort of, I'm gonna say halfway in between, but it's not.
But is not a BLS where they, like, let's say somebody in our department, if we were BLS, they would be able to transport, am I correct?
Yeah, in order to, so BLS, basic life support, in order to have a basic life support transporting unit. The minimum crew complement, according to the state, is an EMT and an EMR. Now, you can have more than that, but that's the minimum crew complement, and that's what you would get. 80% of the calls are ALS calls, so that would not actually be sufficient to take care of that patient. So you will have some mechanism to upgrade that care, either to send another ambulance and have them take it, or to do an intercept if that's possible. Intercepts depending on the area. That's what we had at Green Lake for years. Blair would provide an echo unit, and they provided that to multiple BLS agencies. And that was one way of doing it, and that way they can do cardiac therapy and medication and some other things. But yes, a BLS agency can transport to some extent.
Like, instead of having to stay there with the patient until an EMT gets there, or when your ambulances get there, because I've had several conversations with Tom. And it's my understanding he's working to try and get enough ambulances so that they aren't, I don't want to say all tied up in transfers, but having more available within the company.
Well, there's a couple, we'll talk about that in a little more detail in this way. So over the summer, we went with 3 full-time trucks. We had 3 trucks on 24/7. Now I put 2 at Station 2 just because we have, that's the Thompsonville and US 31 at Station 2. 2 trucks there because we had barracks for them. But what that lightened up was the burden of the transfers in particular out of Paul Oliver. It also made that other truck more available. The worst thing is for us, okay, the downside of efficiency is we run out of trucks occasionally. Usually we don't completely run out, meaning there's not a call, but periodically, 911 calls and another 911 call will come. Chances are here, you're probably going to get an ALS transport unit from Empire, which is pretty quick. The rest of the county probably is going to see Green Lake, but that takes longer, and it's a matter of, we would look, I'd like to find more trucks. It'll cost us all more money though. So it's kind of what level of insurance do you want to pay for? So we're an efficient system, and it does mean we run out periodic. So that does happen, but over the summer, we ran 3 24-hour trucks. During the winter or shoulder season, which isn't really that big, we always have 2 ALS transporting rigs, but we try to run what we call a day car, which is an additional ambulance or half an ambulance, if that's all we can staff, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So the goal is to always have 2.5 trucks, but we've been working on 3, and that is one way to cover that as well.
Okay.
Transfers, so transfers are tricky because, well, one, there's a need. Those are not calls for emergency medical service, okay? The reason that Benzie EMS does them is, one, because they need it. They really do need it. You don't have to use an ambulance, you can use a medical transport service, but there really isn't one available handy. And also it helps us be more efficient. We take those transports that we get paid well for, and it helps reduce the overall cost of our service. So it's kind of a balancing act. So we could not do that. We could not do transfers, but then we would either have less trucks or we would have to have more money. So it is a complicated system to come up with what is just right there. So we've also looked at sometimes, like when we had the half truck scenario, and this happened not that long ago with Chief Cedarholm, I came over by myself. Guess who drove me to the hospital? Mike did. And that was, we took really good care of the patient right there. It's, it's our collective patient. It's maybe not perfect, but it was certainly perfect for that person. And that's the way that we try to cover that Band-Aid if we can to cover that.
And Mike has explained to us how he or some of his staff is certified that they would be able to drive more ambulance.
Yeah, it should be an EMT, but there's we get a little extra leeway from the state under emergency transport.
Okay,
But it should, if it's an ALS patient, the paramedic must be in the back and theoretically, an EMT should drive. So that is the goal. We sometimes do what's best for the patient and figure, well, whoopsie.
Is there an opportunity for us to enhance our mutual aid agreement for that situation? I know we've talked about things in the past, we just never moved forward with it.
I think that is almost better for Mike to answer, but I will say that you kind of are. Initially, there was a little more trepidation when we would ask for, sometimes we ask for a driver. And there was a little concern about that, because obviously, if you say, hey, can we have a driver? Then you're down a responder. This is just my view on that. We have an emergency right here. I'd recommend that we get the driver, and we've gotten that. Because if we ask for that, then we have an emergency in front of us. It's one of our loved ones that really needs your loved ones that needs help right now. And Mike's been very supportive in that capacity. I don't recall the sheriff's or the police department doing it, but I would ask them in the circumstances if it was dire enough, hey, I'll drive our ambulance. They also like to do that. If the situation seems serious enough, they're usually happy to help, so that would be a good way to help.
Yeah, certainly we've always been in a position to do that. Like you said, the emergency is the issue at hand.
Yeah.
Address it, but
We're all short staffed, we got more people, now you say I need a driver, oh, we backed up.
yeah.
Thank you.
We should though, just kind of take care of the I's and the T's on that in case something were to happen, and then we're arguing, whose comp plan is he going on? Those types of things, right? I mean, just
I
little
don't-
things that,
That's a decent question. I wouldn't care, but I don't know, does that constitute as a normal duty in case of an emergency? I would say it is. It actually constitutes as an MCI event. So it should, but yeah, I guess I can't speak to that. When an MCI event, it stands for mass casualty incident, what the state defines it is when the area resources are stressed beyond their ability. Township, and there's only myself and an ambulance. Well, technically, we kind of made that, we make that agreement, so that gives us ability to say, did you have an EMR drive? Okay, not ideal, but it's possible. So there are some ways that we help each other in those circumstances. I don't know how that works on that, but we could certainly look into it. Tom would be happy to look into that if you wanted.
we talked about in the past, just one of those loose ends that you never circle back on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I got one last question, I'm sorry. How important are medical first responders with our fire departments to fulfill the mission of passing ALS?
I think, well, we do ALS and BLS, we do all of that. The way it works in most areas in Michigan is you have a first responder agency, like the fire department, that provides fire rescue. And that's usually BLS level, sometimes it's at EMR level, depending on their development. And it is nice, I believe that Frankfort City is the first fully staffed fire department in the county. I don't believe anyone else.
Fire, I think it's gonna be.
We're trying, but they're going calls when they're not, so
Oh,
at least Saturdays they're not.
yeah, there are some stations in the county.
But I believe that you're 24/7, 365 with two, is that correct? That's awesome. That's kind of what you need too.
that's our on-call.
And that's the first step. I started doing on calls. It's not as good as another duty person, but you know what you do, it's a developing process. So you have a first responder agency that gets there really fast, and they provide the immediate care. There's bleeding, they provide stopping the bleeding. They help us get squared away, so when the transport ambulance, hopefully it's ALS, arrives just slightly thereafter, they provided some emergency care, and they got the scene ready to help. That can be very, very helpful. Sometimes it makes tremendous difference. Particularly if we're coming from a little further away, it's even more significant. And even that's my career path as well. So I think it's very important. And we've had a good working relationship with the fire department in that capacity. It will continue to do so. They have wanted to do ride time. come to Benzie and see a truck or even do some ride time they can to understand. We offer that. We take a lot of students from all of the different services, and we're actually one of the most requested educational sites for full ride time or externship. Great question. Make my job easier.
Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for taking time out to come and explain that stuff. People,
See a little more often than once every.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Time for public input. You need name and address, please.
I'm
No,
Lydia.
oh, you
Sorry.
had somebody behind you.
I'm Lydia Evans with State Savings Bank. I live in Blaine Township. I'm here really quickly just to introduce you to a presentation that we have coming up on Tuesday, October the 7th, from 10:30 to noon. It's going to be held at the Benzie Shores District Library, and the presentation is on mortgage loans, property fraud and alerts, title and related fraud. And the speakers for the event will be Mike Nagy, who's the vice president at State Savings Bank with mortgage origination. We have Paula Eberhardt, who's our registrar, and then Becky Clennon from Searchlight Title. So those three people will present today, and that's it. I did send a flyer to everyone on the panel, and you have one hanging out here.
Yeah. And the one about real estate fraud, I encourage anybody, if you're available to attend that. I've been at meetings where Paula has said properties are being hit, and there is a site where you can go on and she'll be there to help you go through that. Thank you, so.
Mark Campbell.
I
And I live in our usual regional hazard. August 30th, which is Saturday, the 30th. Outside, a family pet, my rescue dog. My neighbor was out as well in his yard. I'd been out with my daughter's dog. She decided to go in. I told her, Bill, I have to go get Rupert. He's visiting Joe. I go to walk over to retrieve Rupert. Joe sees me. He gets up. He starts to walk over. Come on, Rupert, let's go. Starts coming over. He sees me. He comes into the alley. A truck. Speeds through. Hits him. Joe is 6 foot something. Standing there next to his passenger. Standing up. No, I'm not there. He hit first tire. Dog's trying to get away. The truck keeps going. Picks him up in the back of the hill. Look. I get up there, Rupert, and look, the truck's already getting ready to turn onto 10th Street. It's a dark color truck, faded looking paint, maybe some dirt on the back. My neighbor George said that he knows the make. The color was a black or a dark green. Truck never stops, never comes back. Rupert takes his last breath, skinned him, fur gone, everything. I was there to protect Rupert. I'm here at Aspen City to help me save a child, save someone other dog owner, an elderly person. Our city is not what it used to be. It's robust, it's big, it's loud. There are no stop signs in the alleys. And you have streets crossing each other. And we see them go through the 9th Street stop sign even on my Leland, and there's now a stop sign on 10th Street, and they speed down to the football field. They run the stop sign from the church coming this way, and we almost got hit years ago from that. I'd like to see signs at the alleys intersections, speed limit signs. But we're through traffic. I get it, it's not gonna stop everybody. Maybe people will stop and think. The families are on the like path with trucks that try to pass each other, cars driving in my yard and driving in Joe's. Everybody down here with big garages now, blind spots, kids stepping out. My neighbor's kids have got hit twice. The credit union, I'm right at the credit union. That parking lot is just used to be part of the road. They fly from 9th down, fly into there. They come from 10th Street, pull into the driveway, just shoot across the parking lot and cut through the alley. I'm sorry. If you have no reason to access your yard or your garage, or like people just try to use the roads, the main roads, the speeds, the speed limits. And the speed limits. And
Is 3 minutes?
temporary speed things in the alley seasonally would be a nice thing as well, or just do it for the 4th, when it's busier times. My street would be willing to put them in, take them out, maintain it. I've already received 2 speed limit signs, 15 mile an hour, we will be supposed to put in our alley. The stop signs because being real through traffic, maybe that credit union parking lot can become a real parking lot so people think. They can just go through there.
Sorry to stop you, Laura, but it was 3 minutes and it's up, but thank you for your,
Thank you.
and we'll take all of your comments into
And
consideration.
see what. Well,
You may,
this was now.
and you were saying I forgot.
Sure, general.
Okay.
Okay, so on that note, through the years, once a while back, family care was one. How many, on all entrances. Slow down, either stops it, another. State Savings Bank has, their backups in the alley, and a curb separates from the alley along with the cedars. I know the credit union parking lot is extremely small, but if that wasn't allowed access through the alley and that park, just small, because they're technically much more parking, I can see they wouldn't mind. But people are thought through there, left, right, and they spend over very fast. Pretty small language, I'm walking out here, man, just step in the alley and you get out of the room. Kidding me, it's in a really difficult, just walking the 9th Street, I'm getting it, and I get out of the room. I've had enough. There's kids who get a little stupid. I'm gonna build some more condos, it's gonna be more business to the credit. Everybody stay business. I would put for alleyway back, so you have it. Now. I didn't like the call I got out of the store. I hope they're gonna some, hit the speed bump idea for summer. Might be a good idea, maybe another alley, because I think people in the city could probably like it. And then just remove them for plowing first. Well, I think it's a good idea, it's one way to put some other. Put through the alley.
Well, Josh is our street administrator, so we will take your comments and we'll have discussion and see what we can do.
Okay, Josh, great guy and quality people and all over there. Thank you much.
Thank you. Any other public input? Okay, correspondence.
So it's just made aware prior to the meeting that your correspondence is not in your packet, so make sure you guys get copies. Janet Ohm, she is a resident, she lives at the end of Main Street, sent a letter of in support of the public restrooms and sanitation and the need to be able to wash hands and such. She also expressed that the crosswalk concern on M22 there at the end of Main Street going towards Main there, that crossing. She expressed her concern with actually crossing there.
And she's not the only,
She's not the only one.
yeah,
Charter Communications did a laundry list of channel lineups that they're changing, adding channels. No deletions, but adding, and then State Savings Bank, Lindy Evans, sent a letter to council outlining past experiences with the city as well as services they are able to provide.
okay. Okay, approval of minutes of 8/19 and 2025.
This did the was that no minor
Yes.
correction there. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as back up.
Okay,
And so I make a motion to approve the minutes of 8/19/20.
I'll support that. Roll call,
Howard,
yes.
Olson,
Yeah.
Stratton, no, Charters.
Yes.
Approval of bills. Okay.
All right,
Make a motion to approve. Prepaid vouchers 57852 through 57893. HRA 9101 through 9128 in the amount of $976,873.58, of which $914,320.92 for taxes. Payroll voucher 42947 through 43075, and EFT 849 through 861 in the amount of $150,653.25, of which $116,477.53 for wages, $4,835.83 for employee retiree benefits, $3,743.67 for employee reductions, and $25,596.22 for federal tax deposits.
Questions? Roll call,
Olson,
Yes.
Stratton, no, Charters,
Yes.
Howard.
yes. Now for our monthly bills.
Make a motion approving vouchers 57894 through 57922 and 57922 through 924 through 57941, the amount of $407,298.68.
Second. Roll call,
Stratton, yes, Charters,
Yes.
Howard,
yes.
Olson.
Yep.
There's one more on the back side of this page.
Got it.
I'll make a motion approving voucher 5793 payable to Wilson Electric in the amount of $212.
I'll second.
Roll call,
Charters,
Yes.
Howard,
yes.
Stratton,
Yeah.
and Olson.
Stay here.
Thank you. Okay. Council member reports. I will be reporting for Ed, as I didn't attend that meeting. We talked briefly about corridor improvement, and mostly what we talked about there. Merchandise on the sidewalk, we're gonna work, and letters went out to all of the businesses, which came back as a positive return, you know. Some of them acknowledged the letter and made some changes, but went right back to the way they were, so we're gonna continue to work on that. Josh gave us our financial report. Of course, we're fresh into the new year, and supposedly by this fall, the way signs will be installed. And then Brenna from the chamber reported. She listed all of the events yet to come, but she did also say that the football team gathered 20% of the funds where they walked around, you know, to get money. The city donated 17%, the chamber 15%, Harbor Lights 12%, but they were covered. So that was good, and you saw them last month, they sent us a thank you. The carnival didn't work out very well for them this year, so they're thinking of maybe not even having that next year. Because they lost money on that issue. So, that's good. Their art fair was very well attended. They had 109 vendors, which also included the car show. The fall fair. I don't know if that was the street one or not, but they had 30 vendors there. We approved the DJ of $500 for the DJ that was downtown or Ironman. Coming up is Beer Week, Fall Fest, City Run, and the social district. So that and Jack has been in touch with Mark Smith from MIHQ. We wanted to put the flag, down where he has finally gotten approval from the board to make an offer on the Ledke property. And as of right now, and of course, Iron Man has happened and overwhelming turnout on that, sold out. And today we have Mark Robic.
Gabe.
Or Gabe, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Robic, is that how you pronounce it? He has been hired by and he's here taking pictures and he will be here through when? In the next 4 or 5 days, to take, this is a promotional thing, for Frankfurt. The cost is $53,000 and it can be spread out, in payment wise over 2 years. He'll take whatever we can send to him in that 2-year period. So I think that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything, Brenna? I think so. Okay. And then, let's see, and I did attend the housing commission for both Steve and, well, Ed was there, but he's not. We had a conversation with John Stimson. They're 100% full. And the average rent income is the low side is 1,100 a month. The high side is 13. Oh wait, that's not right. I put the wrong number in there. Sorry, but the average rent down at the end of it, Lake of Nain is $1,110 a month. So they're working with Crystal Mountain on the 32 unit out there. It was decided or recommended that somebody from the DDA should go and someone from the Housing Commission go to the school board and present, and John Stimson will be there because we talk about having daycare on the lower level and apartments above. For not just teachers, but and open it up to more people there. And of course, on the agenda, we talked about the management group for the Patterson Crossing apartments. Things are not getting done the way that they should be, so it's on our agenda tonight to okay myself and Josh to draw a letter for my signature to send to them. Plus, from Chris, I understand they haven't paid their bill for last year yet, so we need to get about that. Evidently, they've got a new management firm that is not doing a good job. We need new housing commission members, so if anybody wishes to serve on that, be much appreciated. Josh, I think he's the one that had our conversation with Jay with the Hall Street rental housing discussion with Dan Hauser, who may be interested. The next school board meeting is October 13th, so that's in hopes that we can go and do that. That was pretty much it for housing. And Dale, you're up next.
So, Personnel Committee did not meet this, month, we met last month. Finance met, but I will let the, mayor, who's, chairman of that, speak to that meeting. The, Water and Sewer did not, meet, but, as a part of that, that meeting, I met with, Josh on, September 12th. Along with, Elmers and, Jeff Cottrell, with on a VE session with, Elmers Construction. And, we were able to take some, money out of the, initial bids and kind of through the collaborative effort of everybody, I think we have a pretty good, proposal at the end. And, we got, within our budget, so that was a good collaborative effort on everybody's part. The planning commission met on, September 9th. I did not attend, but I listened, to the recording. Key items out of that meeting were, there was questions raised by Gary Arnold on Forest Avenue. And the concern there that he had was concerning the density of the short-term rentals. If there was any provisions in there on his particular block, he's on Forest Avenue there. On his particular block, there's currently 9 short-term rentals and there's houses for sale. He's afraid that it's 13 houses on that block. So that's something that, in the overall review of that particular ordinance, we're gonna have to give some thought to. And I'm sure some thought was put into that originally, but, it's gonna need to be a little bit of thought on that. The ad hoc committee also met that day. They continue to work on the blight ordinance. They're using, Elk Rapids and Parker Woods as a possible, model. The committee, is reaching out, to those particular, cities to see what's, good and bad about the particular ordinance, how well it might be working, and if they have any potential, recommendations. So that work is continuing. 2 site plans were approved, recommended approval by the planning commission. One was on 412 A Street that approved, adding a 32 by 40 space, additional, space there. And one was on 801 Main Street to add an apartment garage, and that was approved with conditions associated with the apartment. So, they're, rescheduling the next meeting, to November, time and place, well, time, dates will carry. Blue. Things are moving along at Blue. The construction's, approximately 20%, complete, about $800,000 worth of 4.1 million. A lot of the, foundational concrete has been, placed, both, for the headworks tank as well as the brick chamber. Backfilling is ongoing. They're just about out of the ground, so that's moving along very nicely. The UV building is actually, pulled ahead of schedule. And, they put up the walls and the roof on that. So they're tracking the schedule, and, right now they're aligning with, completing the entire project in June of 2026. So things are moving along very well there. Real happy with the performance of the contract. Being safe and getting the work done. The Marine Authority did not meet this month. Includes my
Okay, thank you.
reports.
Personnel, Board's Finance, we did meet and we were only meant to wrap up. 24-25 fiscal year, and it ended up really tight. No negatives in any funds. So, and right now, Chris is working with the auditors, and I believe they're to arrive this week, maybe
Today, either tomorrow or Thursday.
and
It's 2 days.
right on schedule with doing the audit, so we'll get the final draft from them sooner than last year. Let's hope for that. And I think you all probably got the letter from Anderson and Tagnon for each council member to review. Grant committee, we did not meet, and the tree board is meeting in Mineral Springs Park tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So that's my report. Great.
Okay, let's see. Public safety did not meet, rec board met September 8th. We just went over two things, dog park, just working on some verbiage for the sign. Pickleball essentially is done, waiting on tree planting, near the pickleball courts, probably to be done in the spring. Pickleball is kind of going off our agenda. The lighthouse, the North Breakwater Light. Not a whole lot going on there. We, as the rec board, kind of feel we should just kind of step away and let the fundraising continue for the time being and focus on it again at a later date when there is monies available to move forward more with that project. Frankfurt Beach bathroom project. Not a whole lot of updates on that. There was a brief discussion about the placement of it and potentially moving it back 15 feet into the property line to accommodate it in that area. And I offered to bring it up to the city council tonight, so that could be a topic for discussion at some point. Fellows Park, nothing really planned there, probably until spring. We're moving into the season where we soon time to take the dock out, you know. And until we get the Lake Michigan bathroom completed, we won't focus too much on Bell's bathroom.
But are you gonna be going out for bids for the septic and well?
Well,
Or then,
Josh, we talked about that, what do we wanna do?
We'll see financially where we're at.
I mean, we gotta at least get a bid,
Yeah,
you know,
we can package it together, get some distributed, see where we're at.
I'm just asking for bid, not doing it.
Yeah, how we can move forward, adding some bids for septic and well this winter. So that it can be on the front burner come spring. The only other thing we talked about as far as rec board goes was, Market Square Park, the perimeter walking path. We decided that we don't really want to get too deep into the woods on that. It seems to be more of a want than a need. And we have a lot of other things
That's why,
in the fires yet that, you know, need to be focused on before we start thinking about any sort of walking path, perimeter path on that part, so. That was all for rec board. Airport, we had our regular meeting, the 28th of August at 6. Gosh, there's kind of a lot going on at the airport. We're coming into the time of year where we need to start trimming some of the trees, for our navigation easement. There's a lot of pushback from some of the other landowners in regards to concern of, are we gonna cut their trees down? Are we gonna top them? How that plays out. There's also runway lighting that needs to be updated, thresholds that need to be worked on. We have engineers kind of working on all this stuff. And I could go into great detail, but you're not going to right now because it's long and twisted and we don't know a lot of answers after you. So I want to say stay tuned for more up here. So that's all I have.
nothing from McKinsey, okay. Commissioner Street. Christine. Or Christine.
Good evening. You know, things to talk about. One thing, we talked about as a commission is that, commissioners are gonna rotate through the road commission. So we talked about our committee assignments. One thing that we did bring back was the road commission and, yeah, multiple commissioners are going to rotate through that. We're just going to go to one meeting a month, although they have 2 a month. We approved the proposal from Watson Contracting for the Point Betsy shoreline project. And our estimated project amount is 8 million, so that was 1 million less than what we thought, so. One of the things that contributed to that, can't remember if I talked about this or not, but they're going to the Alpina's quarry, and so they're going to bring the rock from Alpina and bring it around instead of going from Wisconsin, and apparently that is going to lessen the cost, so excellent. We also approved extending the contract for the recycling coordinator, David Jacob, for another year. Let's see, and with the government center, we had a cleaning service. It didn't work out very well, and so we had to go back to the drawing board, and we picked a more local company this time around. Well, there's Tish. At one of our board of commissioners meeting, one thing we were talking about again is the committees that we're on. The chair was thinking maybe to remove commissioner from the domestic task force. We did have a comment saying that she appreciated that we have somebody on that domestic task force, like commissioner, somebody from the county. So we'll see how that goes. Our EMS director, Tom King, he talked about Station 32, just like Chris did. Well, the contractor seems to think he can meet the January 1st deadline. So, let's hear with that. In the administrator's office, we have a couple new folks. We have Leslie, who is the deputy administrator. I believe I talked about that last time, that we changed just her title. She will still be doing HR and whatnot, but yes, she actually comes from Detroit City, and she's going to be a really good addition to the office. The other person we had came from the jail. I highlighted her later on down, but she started as the administrative assistant. So we're back to running the administrator office. You did have Mike Feeding come, the drain commissioner, and talk to us at the commission. He kind of talked through some of the challenges he had starting up, and some of the challenges that he continues to see. But it sounds like he is looking to kind of right the ship, and he's looking into some projects, and he has a new number. Again, you can go to the county website to get it. Anyway, his new number is 231-218-1433. Tim Mayone also came and talked to us, and basically was saying the internet for all is in good shape, and we only have less than 40 properties that are unfunded. So that's we're going in the right direction. We also had Common Website in our equalization department. Our equalization director, her last day was last week Friday, and she said that she would stay on with us for a few, however we needed, to be the director of record. However, she informed us that that was actually too much, and that she couldn't do that. So we are scrambling. We are reaching out to the state to let them know, because this is very important. We have to have an equalization director of record. So we're trying to cover that base. We're reaching out to other counties to see if they will help us as well. And we're going forward on kind of our hybrid look at getting a deputy equalization director who takes care of our day-to-day activities in the equalization department, and then just having that equalization director of record who's taking maybe remote or something like that. So we're working on that. We did allocate funding from our fund balance to build a GIS mapping layer to our current map that's part of equalization. We certainly did have some support from some of our townships wrote us some letters and said that they would really like to see that. And, we did do that. Let's see. Let's see, what is he, I see him, right yet.
Is your budget all wrapped up or you had your public hearing?
We did have our public hearing, there was no comment. Or was supposed to be comment. Anyway, yes, kid, and, that is in here as well. So, we did that on September 9th, our board of commissioners regular meeting. So we did do that. And I put in my report some of the things we did and did not add to that, so you can look at that at your leisure. And I thought this would be, something you don't all want to, know about is the park and runs. The Crystal Lake Outlet project is happening, September 22nd at 9 AM, and I believe that's a commenting period, I think. So you might want to look at that.
You said the date was?
September 22nd,
At 10 a.m.
9 AM. Yes. So I'll try to get to that. If you have any questions, I know I send this out to late, have meetings that I don't talk to you.
Interesting reading. We're very thorough.
Yeah.
I just have one question.
Yes.
What is, the project at Point Betsy Lighthouse? Are they moving forward with it? When is it gonna start or what's the status?
Well, we basically approved the contractor. And so, yes, we are moving in a direction. We've approved them. We're pretty confident it's gonna happen. We don't quite have all of our funding yet. We are still working on that. But like I said, we thought we were, maybe at a 3 or 4 million shortfall. We're looking to be more like a 3 to 2 million. The Friends of Point Betsy, I think that they have some things that they might be able to rely on to help us out. So we're
So will the
cautiously optimistic.
will the contractor proceed or wait until you got a call in a month? We can just
Yes, I
probably wait until they.
I know, yes, I don't quite have all those particulars, but yes. We also want an engineer as part of the project, to kind of oversee that. So one of the things that, so when Walton first approached the Friends, they were like, don't want these folks, because they hadn't done any big projects before. But since that time, because it's taken so long for us to get the permitting, since that time, we've been able, or they have been able to take on bigger projects. They are very much engaged. And, the Friends are very confident that, they are in a position to do this for us. And I think we're looking at it kind of like, this is our big flagship, this is our big thing. We can't
None.
get this wrong.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to talk about this big, beautiful project that we did at Wilderness Lighthouse.
Okay, that's the only question I have.
Mhm.
So, Christie, thank you for the detailed report.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I certainly understand. But I see, as you noted on August 12th, they extended the contract to the recycling coordinator, David Schaefer, for $84,000 a year. So with that, yes, I still continue to hear many comments on the issue that I brought up last month, maybe even the month before, with respect to cardboard recycling for businesses. And something I hope in the near future, in the next 60 to 90 days, that perhaps some sort of a plan might be proposed on what's gonna work, or something that they might be able to.
So, I think I explained this a little bit last time too. So, the recycling coordinator, we get that money, we have the power to tax, on a certain act.
I get all that, but that doesn't solve the problem.
I understand.
That doesn't solve the problem. That's a funding thing. but there's a problem that needs to be addressed. So,
Has been any discussion about going to the different act that allows commercial use?
There has not been that discussion. But that doesn't mean we couldn't. Right now, that is where our funding goes, and that's why it's illegal for businesses to dump in our dumpsters. And mind you, that isn't. But he's cognizant of that, and he wants to help.
so whose purview is that? Then if it's not his, who's it gonna be?
Yeah, and so
County
kind of
commissioners.
talked about this a little bit last time too, that what Beulah is trying to do is trying to kind of. The businesses are trying to work that out with the village to find a spot and to have a place where they can kind of pool their resources to fill that gap.
And last week, I did speak to, the gentleman down at, Republic, AJ, and he did talk to some individuals on Main Street about increasing the pickup to be able to accommodate for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe his outreach, because he was, said that he was going to go make sure that the whole corridor was addressed. I don't know, maybe he hasn't got that. But yes.
I understand that's a problem and I do sympathize. And like I said,
Well, like I said,
has mentioned that.
yeah, I understand the funding is for private individuals or homeowners and so on and so forth, and not businesses. So we have a waste collection system that charges for dumpsters that the various businesses pay for, okay? And if they want to recycle, which is a good thing for everybody,
Yeah.
they gotta pay more. So what's the incentive of them paying for more when they can just simply throw it away? It's counterintuitive.
It is.
So I guess they're continuing to ask for help and comment on that. And
You need to take that.
I would bring that back, yes.
The best, right?
I really appreciate her.
See, the plastic topic, we all want to recycle, of course we do, of course we want incentives to recycle. Of course we want that, so yes, and like I said, Dave has mentioned that even though that is not supposed to be in his purview, that he is trying to help with that as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, moving on to department reports, Chris.
So first, I'd like to wish Officer Hutchinson before October 8th. He's going to have 7 years with the city. Just a note that as of September 11th, the city has collected 75% of its taxes for summer. They were due yesterday, but I did not pull a figure for today, but we were at 75% on the 11th. As the mayor had mentioned, the audit is currently commencing. They are working remotely for part of it. We're able to put things on the OneDrive, and that is working exceptionally well this time around. I do anticipate they'll be in the office for at least 2 days this week. The SNA conversion started on September 9th. They preliminarily pulled in all our data. The staff, October 22nd at 3 p.m. My staff will no longer be able to input anything into the system and become our new system until October 27th, when we'll be going live. So with that, that allows for, and we will be closed on Monday for about an hour. We'll just put up a note that bear with us, we'll be back, or if someone's not there, ring the bell. Because we do have a meeting, an online meeting, to go over our new software. And then the fun begins. We start training, live training.
So it'll be just your office will close, not City Hall.
No, City Hall will be closed, but if they come up to the front counter, there may not be anyone right there right then. You may have to ring the bell, there's a bell system. But they're gonna be doing actual training and Shannon will be part of that training too. She uses our software.
Josh.
Yeah.
Sure.
Chad, you're it.
Cash or nothing.
I noticed just, I attended the first meeting, there's a lot of different things that, she put on our,
Very
on
interesting.
my radar. Most importantly, there is election equipment, so far there is new election equipment that are required to purchase. $15,000, that's for election day, we have early voting, the equipment we just received will no longer be able to be used. So we will need to buy $30,000 worth of election equipment. Will we pair with another municipality? Perhaps. But I think the fact that we have the facility, we have a generator, we have all these perks, that it may be beneficial for us to actually make sure we're covered, and then if someone else wants to come in at a cost share, like to rent to them, that may be an option. Some of the smaller municipalities, they don't have $30,000 to go buy equipment. So that may be something, but I'm told that they're still looking, perhaps the state will find a great fund. So we'll see. Beyond that, do you have any questions? No.
It's a very good report about your meeting with Tammy. Very, very, very interesting.
Thank you, and kudos to Tammy. I mean, this is Flowers, she's the clerk over at Benzie County. She's great at getting us together. We have round elections where it's once a month. It helps with talking to other municipal clerks and talking about how they're having, or where do I find this on QPF? Where do I find this at the help list? It's a good resource, and it's nice that, you know, even when we're not there, we have the ability to then network to our other local clerks. So, or share what we've learned. So it's a great opportunity.
And you also noted here that there was talk that in 2026, there will be an election in June
Yes.
and not in May or August.
Yeah, so they're talking
They
about, they're talking about doing away with May and August and just having a June and a November, they're talking. So we shall see, instead of having 3 elections, they're thinking, making it into 2, but it's still in the talking phase.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody have questions for Chris? Okay, Josh, city superintendent.
Iron Man went very well. Seems every year that we do this, logistics get to be a little bit more smooth. It's my understanding there were no significant issues with the swim, bike, or the run. No major injuries to anyone involved. So, from that standpoint, it's a great success. Our office did get a complaint from a resident that probably, we don't know the whole situation. They were supposed to be here to talk about it with the city council, but I think it was a situation where somebody lived on Leelanau, they forgot about the event and then went to leave for the day, and it was met with road closures. But I'll circle back with that resident to see exactly what the issue is. I thought they would be here tonight, but beyond that, I believe that's the only complaint he received. I don't know if law enforcement received anything separate. Mark was out on an e-bike checking everything out. It was exciting to see that involvement
Yes, it
from
was.
law enforcement standpoint. So it's a great day, a lot of positive energy. And as I mentioned, everyone that started the race at least left here. Not everybody finished. Last winter we had 2 streetlights taken out. One on M22 and one on Main Street. We just got those replaced. Those were both suffocated. But I want to draw light to the fact that that's the amount of time it takes to get the procurement for these types of things. The light down in front of Unifella is actually a different light than what we have downtown, because we couldn't procure the same light. It'd take well over a year. We got one coming. So the next time one gets taken up, we'll have it in inventory, but
Is it all insurance?
yeah, everything's included in that because it was a subrogated claim, so we didn't even cover the deductible side of it.
Okay,
Now, we did have some staff time involved, of course, to reimburse, but all the costs associated with that was covered under the insurance subrogation. Middle Springs Fountain, I really would like to circle back on this before winter, just so we get more of a game plan going with that. As I mentioned last month, we had some issues this winter where the the high mineral content water weakened the mortar in some of the brick joints, which caused some issues there. We talked about removing the exterior layer to investigate the condition of the concrete and maybe installing a wood, like a barrel type situation, which is how they did it years ago. They're probably on something, probably realized that that's the only thing that would cover the mineral content of the water. But we want to stay focused on that. We do got it barricaded. People are able to safely get water, but if somebody were to jump up on the brick, it could loosen up and so they could fall off. So we have a warning, encouraging people not to do that. The Lake Michigan bathroom, just waiting on final release to go for bid from the DNR. But everything is secured in with the grant, so there are no issues. Because of the time it's taken us to get to where we're at, there was concern about the timeline of the grant, and we needed to have everything uploaded into the portal by a certain date to avoid potential issues with further any additional extensions for the project. So that's moving forward. DPW does a great job. Unfortunately, Mother Nature came a little early a couple weeks ago. We had to clean up the turnaround area, especially right before Ironman. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but got a lot of high winds. The first winter came for about a week. Now summer came back.
Are you going to start in October putting the fence?
So we're gonna go a little earlier this year. Start getting things set
You
aside.
did it in October last year, it made a big difference.
Yeah, we want to definitely get for the heavy blow season. Aspects of the project, I'll talk about in a new business. But as Dale mentioned, we were able to value engineer the project and remove some aspects to reduce the cost. Spinsky, I did have a meeting with the new condominium project, the owner and the project team associated with that. So they're in the process right now of updating their wetland delineation and the water and sewer extension permits that'll go to Eagle. At one time, they were gonna talk about tying into Alberta's force main. And we had some logistics tied in with that. Now I think they wanna go back to the original plan and do an extension, which is fine. But it would be entirely part of our system. Any questions for me?
No,
Only had a couple of weeks this month. I took vacation. Busy, a lot going on.
no questions? Okay. Moving on to chief of police. Mark,
From August 13th through September 10th, officers responded to and/or generated 145 law enforcement related calls within the city. Few of these included requested to do standby at the boat launch, mostly in the evenings. Currently, some voters are getting a little sporting down there. Over top usage, who got there first, who got there second, who was in line first at the fish cleaning station. Sure. So,
they
presence
want to get the biggest fish.
was requested by the staff down there, so we took that. Try to keep things to that board. New computers in the PD are installed and a huge improvement in the old ones. The contact that I made last month with MDOT, as of September 10th, they deleted the turn arrow by the end of the year. But on the flip side, they added some striping to M22 north of the blinking light that isn't really what we talked about. So I think it just, if nothing else, may just add to the confusion. So I have to put a call in back to MDOT, see if we can get some clarification on how they estimate that lane. What it appears to me is they marked it just very similar to the markings on M22, the north side of Forest, where in that area is parking. So I don't know if they're considering that lane which appears to me to be a traffic light. And it's being used as a traffic lane, but the markings indicate to me majorly it's roadside connection, so. That isn't fixed, so I'm still working on it. I don't know if anyone caught the news last month. Reference to an individual being arrested in the city of Frankfurt for crimes involving minor children. Anybody caught that or not?
I did.
It was not a city of Frankfurt arrest, although I did assist the Department of Homeland Security investigations unit on that arrest. Basically obtaining some information from a boat in a vehicle of the suspect who they were watching. They then, the Homeland Security Investigations team traveled here from Grand Rapids on August 19th, arrested that subject. They then did a press release, got it in our local news. And subsequently on September 2nd, the same agent came back to the city and seized that individual's boat. He was living on a 50-foot sea rig, very, very nice boat. In one of the marinas, and our office was requested just to serve as the interphone presence as their playfulls. And also utilize the sheriff's scanning team to conduct a sweep of the vessel for drugs. And the motor carrier officer from the state police to check tanks in the vessel for illegal substances. Kind of check the box
That's good.
process they have to go through, so. And then down there at the marina, I think they did everything pretty discreetly. I don't think anybody even caught on it, so.
Okay. Thank you, and you're waiting until October 1st to start interviews, correct?
Yes, October 1st is the deadline for applications. After that, soon after that, we'll be conducting interviews.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Mark. You're doing a great job, and it was a pleasure to see you out there on your bike
It was,
Sunday.
I think, I should probably touch on it again, because I think it'd be kind of lost if I wait until next month. But, I was pleasantly surprised. I didn't know quite what to expect with Ironman. I'll admit, I've always been kind of anti-naysayer, whatever, about the whole thing, but after actually experiencing it and watching the participants and spectators and the energy and just the amount of enthusiasm from a lot of our residents get involved, and to people they don't even know, complete strangers, and the way the Ironman crew as a whole, the way they operate with military-like precision, and the setup and tear down. When I came back and work on Monday morning, you almost couldn't tell they did.
That they didn't have been here. Yeah, by noon, the only thing in the open space was quarter, so they were being loaded water.
I saw the director himself out walking the entire course, picking up what tiny little bits of trash were left.
Yeah, he does that every year.
And I'd like to say that I think a lot of the majority of the people that are here because of the Ironman participants and their families or their support staff and the Ironman crew, to some degree, treat the city better than a lot of the residents.
I had the honor to put the medal on the first guy that came through the #1 place. And I thanked him, so he said, "This is my most favorite place to be on."
See why.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you, Mark. Chief Cedar Hall.
I've got a few council requests that will be coming up on the list just as they go through. You got, talking of, Fire Advisory Board notes. We do plan on having an open house on Sunday, October 5th. I catch a fire in the packet, or put fires in and around town. We had 27 calls in August and 5 fire calls. This month is already surpassing that. Some false information breakdown there. Total in our response area is 55 EMS calls and 21 fire calls. And talking about our response area during Ironman, we had teams up in Lake Township at that station up there, and teams in Alberta. And that team also did an extraction of one of the swimmers that had hypothermia. And we also got a call on the bike path, so we went down that. And Melanie was acting as a chauffeur, Lieutenant Cedarholm, for Tom King in the UTV, taking him around medical, and also assisted the doctor. And gave him supplies and things that he needed as well. So that's what, worked out very well. And as they started clearing that area, we started retracting some of our territory, and bringing it back to the station. I spent most of the day handling IC and communicating with like different area teams who are all distributed throughout our response areas so that we can keep in touch with everything that's going on in the race and what's happening. That was the key there. And short-term rental inspection did some discussal with what probably in the future about cost recovery, bringing it up. Training, and a UTV that was running around. Fires installed on us, brand fire. And got back Saturday, the National Fire Academy, spending a week there. That was really interesting. We had 8 units of 23 chiefs, assistant chiefs, battalion chiefs from all over the United States that I met with these people. We looked at that, shared a lot of good ideas. We got into a discussion about the 8 units that we covered. We were split up to cover everything from the chief executive officer's responsibilities all the way down to politics and the resources, including and a host of other things that we got into that split up into groups. It was every night homework and every one of the presentations of our numbers. So it was intense, but it was well to hear other people's ideas. We're not alone. Everything that we do.
Okay, thank you. Old business, Frankfurt Fire Department standard operating procedures and standard operating guide. What we take, I read every single word in this, which was 145 pages.
You gotta get hot.
And I understand I would read it, but if you need a fireman, thank them for their service. They don't go down there just to sit and have a cup of coffee. It is amazing of the training that they have to go through. So be sure if you're running into one of them, thank them for their service. There's a lot that they have to go through. All the T's have to be crossed and all the I's done. So kudos to you, Mike, for doing this. And these 2 documents will keep the city out of problems, or keep us out of court, generally. So you can have these 2 go back if anybody in your department needs them. Yeah, that was real careful. And I did have some questions for Mark about too many M's here. Mike about this, and he answered that, and I'm very satisfied. You did.
And I read every single page of all documents.
Yeah.
I have.
Amazing.
Yeah, and there's an incredible amount of information there. And Mike and I sat down on a one-on-one basis and kind of went through some of my comments. And at this point, I think there was at least an agreement with kind of Mike and I. And I don't know what others think, but there is an incredible amount of information in here, and there's some duplications.
Right.
And so the suggestion there, and then it was my opinion, there was a few things, delineated out in guidelines that I think should be more of a procedure, because they're very precise stuff with testing and certifications and so on and so forth. And so, anyway, we kind of agreed that in short order, we could probably sit down and kind of sort through that and come back with a newer and better revision on these, and probably eliminate some of the duplication.
Kind of condensed.
Yeah, condensed version. And so that would be my recommendation, is at least with the motion is that we go back and take it back to his committee, and that might be a committee of one, like primarily. Agreed to sit down and kind of look through that. And I've already delineated out quite a few things that, you know, I thought about that, and I think Mike was incredibly receptive to some of that, and I'm sure that we can work through that fairly quickly. So,
Are we tabling this?
yeah, I would, well, we can either table it, or we could approach it to deny the current version. And come back with a revised version.
No, I don't want it.
So you want to table it?
No, I'm trying to figure out how we could word
Well,
this,
it needs to be revised.
We, the,
the basic.
yeah,
One of the things that I checked is, it is clear that, and there's some questions I've talked, and I did call, and talk to some of, Cranberry, Texas on this. There are duplications, and that's intentional, that's the reason why we do that. And then there's the legal aspect too, so, well, that's what we're going to talk about in future. So as far as the document is concerned, like I said, they've gone through this, I got a lot of this information from them. And the class that I was in, in Evansburg, and this is from, you said there's how many pages, 100? Anyway,
46 in the one, and there's 100 in the other.
there's a department that I was talking with, because we had some, these SMGs, and I mentioned what the deal is. They have 400 pages, they're same size. So I guess that's a straight out change.
So what are you saying, that the duplication
We
is
can't,
intentional?
yeah, there is intentional duplication according to what they told me. What they mentioned to me, and people we pretty well got that information from.
Well,
Because I took this one as your operating guideline, and I took this one as basically your training manual.
Right, exactly, I mean, the procedural one is the one that can hold discipline, the guidelines are guidelines, now where. Dale had mentioned that some of these can probably be, they should be, and that's what I want to discuss, the ones he says, okay. This could be, should be possibly a procedure and in Bell Shell, okay? So we can review that, I think that it's in there, I guess my recommendation is approve that, we can always adjust that as a revision. If I ask the council, they would think about just accepting that, and we'll just work on revisions. We can just do page revisions, according.
Okay, so you're answering my question basically, so we could approve this, and with future revisions.
so with that, I guess what I would say is that that's fine, I would support, but I think we need to put voting date out. Only, you know, perhaps by calendar year end being first. Would be support for that, but I think there's some things that should be addressed.
Okay.
But I think the concept is very good. Again, there's a lot of great information there, and some of this needs to be implemented sooner versus later, so I support, you know, doing that approval.
Yeah.
But we.
Okay,
So
so,
that's you.
all right, so I will make a motion to approve to the Frankfurt Fire Department standard operation procedures and standard operating guidelines as presented with amendments. Revision to be final, any revisions to be finalized by January 1st.
I would support that.
For the amendments, by
Revisions,
revision.
any revisions necessary by January 1st of 2026. Is that work?
This way we can move with the document. And those things that.
Right.
And questions on it.
Because you need to cover your thing, basically.
All support that.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, roll call, please.
Florida,
Yes.
Olson,
Yep.
Stratton. Yes. Charters.
Yes.
Okay, this next one, well, it's pretty, we, Oliver Artisan are base renewal. And this is all boilerplate, exactly. And it looks like again, we done that. Yes. So,
The only thing I changed was the current date.
okay. So this is something we do every 3 years. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the former Coast Guard property consent agreement with the Elizabeth Lane Oliver Center for the Arts in the city of Frankfurt, authorized Mayor and Word and clerk treasurer Christian Woods Spence to sign on behalf of the city.
One second.
any questions? Roll call.
Olson.
Yep.
Stratton. Charters.
Yes.
Florida.
Yes. Okay, Frankfurt Fire Cost Recovery Contract. We, last meeting, we said we were gonna do it on our own. Chief Cedar Home did further research and decided or found that that is not a good thing. Because we would be on the hook for any attorney fees, whereas cost recovery have a boatload of attorneys that take care of that, and so it's worth the 20% to pay for them to do it. So basically what part of the motion is we need to rescind the motion made last month and then move forward with the contract. Any questions? Okay.
I second that.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
you make the motion.
Okay, I make a motion.
I was just
Approve. The action to rescind the August 19th, 2025 approval granting the Frankfurt Fire Department to bill cost recovery and authorize cost recovery USA to provide the service to the city and allow him order to sign on behalf of the city.
Also that.
Thank you. Roll call.
Stratton. Yes. Charters.
Yes.
Florida.
Yes.
Olson.
Here.
Okay, this next one I kind of explained in my report. The Housing Commission is recommending a letter to Peterson Crossing from the city council. So we just need approval for Josh and I to work out a letter of my signature to send to them. There's things happening like
Can we see the,
bullet point.
yes,
Well,
I would like to know what exactly.
there's things like, one incident that was brought up in which, she is gonna provide us with the bullet points because she's the member that lives in one of those. Of the things that have been going on, there's things like oven breaks, and it's not being fixed until a week or longer. And they're being basically verbally abused. Things like that, and she's gonna provide us with the bullet points. What's going on?
So,
Go ahead.
my comment on this is, there's no doubt in my mind that it's in our best interest when you have housing, housing developments like that, that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing and providing a good environment for the citizens as well as just doing what's right and servicing that. But are we getting on a slippery slope because we have no privy of contract? That's between the the renter and the landlord. And I'm just wondering if we're overstepping what we need to be doing now. I don't think there would be anything wrong necessarily to have a meeting with them and have a little discussion. Say, hey, in the best interest of the city and our citizens. We really appreciate you guys addressing some of these concerns, but to put things in writing, I don't know if I would agree.
Josh, you wanna kick in there with any comments? Well, it is in the minds or the people that rent in Patterson Crossing, they feel like it's a bad reflection on the city.
I don't deny that at all.
And plus the fact that they haven't paid.
Well,
Okay.
I largely agree with Dale on this, I mean. This is, I think, a slippery slope, you know, we have no. We got nothing in front of us at the moment, we're operating on conjecture and facts here, and I'm not comfortable with that.
Well, would you like us to table them and then get the bullet points?
Yeah.
To you?
Like a zone approach, we do reach out to them, get a meeting. Maybe be as simply as yourself and I. And by then, we'll have a pretty good idea of what the issues are, and we already know some of the issues, we've had to step in.
And take care
I
of
mean, we had to physically take care of the dumpster. Because they weren't paying the contractor, and the contractor wasn't gonna come dump it, I said, well,
Well, that gets
you
me.
do it for the city? So I'll make sure you get your, one of those things, but maybe we can do that, we can set up a meeting with the new management.
Okay,
And then also address the concerns associated with the bill not being paid.
I would like to be part of the
So-
conversation.
okay,
Separate conversation.
Well, once we have a contact, because every contact that I have, I'm running around constantly.
cause this is under a new manager.
More of that.
So, they're not even responding to anything, so. And if they're, I mean, it's booked as receivable from last year, so it's there, but we need to receive payment.
Okay, so we'll deny the letter, is that what we're, and then Josh and I will be meeting with the management person, manager. Is that what you're saying? Okay,
Yeah, so I make a motion to deny a letter to be drafted to Patterson Crossing from the city council. Or whatever is the property.
And
Second,
that's,
You wanna add to that motion though, to include that the mayor and the city superintendent will facilitate a meeting?
Yes.
okay. Got that, Chris?
mhm,
Okay, thank you.
mhm.
Roll call.
Dylan, you seconded,
yeah,
Brennan,
first,
Charters,
yes,
Florida,
Yes.
Olson,
Yep.
Stratton, yes.
Okay. Financing for Frankfurt Fire. Ladder truck, you all got the new. IPA schedule. Let's bring one.
Yep.
This is hard. Very much for the day. We had a little snafu with that. But we got it straightened out. And. It looks like State Savings Bank is the low bidder. And I think you prefer to go with a 5-year, am I correct? Yeah. And the other entities that are part of the fire advisory. Will be paying their share. The group will go within the budget. So we just need a motion to award. Contract.
Yeah, now, I have a call into our bond attorney because it's purchase agreement, it's criteria we gotta follow, so whatever motions. You make, we just wanna add, pending. Finalizing it with bond.
Okay, fine.
And then also, we know that the other entities, this will be presented to them, they're going to have to approve. Funding
They will do that in the budget process.
for the next year.
Yes. Because the first payment is in.
six.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be all part of that, that'll be in the budgeting process.
Okay, very good.
And we're comfortable that all entities
Yeah,
are on board.
We had that discussion with them at the fire guys.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'll make a motion to approve finance proceeding with the financing of 110,000 with State Savings Bank for the purchase of the 2002 Pierce Dash ladder truck.
Pending finalization of the voluntary.
Yes, pending.
A second.
Any discussion? Roll call,
Florida,
yes.
Olson,
Yeah.
Stratton. Yeah. Charters.
Yes.
Social district permit resolution.
Okay, tangent, attached for your review is a sample resolution. For establishment of social district permit through the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. An establishment must first obtain approval from the governing body where the license is located and for which local governmental unit as designated social district. City council approval is being requested for the following establishments. So the businesses in the city of Frankfurt within the DDA corridor that are going to be part of the social district is Dorset Bolus, Merchant Maple, Vita Bella, Storm Cloud Brewing, Villa Marine, Slurping Bear, Dingy's, the Hotel Frankfurt Restaurant, Old Town, Frank Z, and Lynn Pairing, for the tasting room. And this is kind of a follow-up of the approvals that were received earlier in the.
Excuse me, can you add goodies to that list? Do we have a tasting license as well?
Absolutely, and what do we got to do?
I mean, I didn't know that you guys did, we can imagine legally.
Goodies.
Goodies.
Oh, goodies, okay.
Yeah. On your research, adding restaurants at a later date, you just need to do this process.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so it's an annual license that that you'll hold, Mark, so what I'll do is I will, you don't need to do the online application, that was basically just to tell us that you're interested. So we'll add you in, cause I'll get you one for.
Very good.
So if we adopt a resolution. I gotta believe we're okay with a resolution that's gonna be, I mean, we're gonna do separate resolutions for each one, but a motion. Just be generalized to include all of them. We'll process the resolution, it'll be the individual restaurant. Exactly, yeah, it's part of the application. Makes sense to me.
So there'll be this application that's on the back for each place.
And Brenda had given them to me,
Okay,
so they'll her.
Alright, make a motion to adopt a resolution, each of the above mentioned establishments to apply for a social district permit through that MLCC. We change that wording so that above mentioned establishments would be added.
yeah,
And with the addition,
Additional goodies.
Additional goodies and any future. Yeah.
except that the future applicants, I think is-
Those sound well.
they have to come before you,
Yeah.
because they have to fill out the date and time of their meeting and all of that too.
okay.
Fair.
Did somebody second that?
I did.
Okay. Questions? Roll call.
Wilson.
Yep.
Stratton. Charters.
Yes.
Florida.
Yes. Okay, the last and the big.
Yeah.
Capital Improvement Project, Michigan Avenue.
So this is a project that we postponed for various reasons. So this year we proceeded accordingly and put the project out for bid. We started adding features of it with hopes that, I don't know, maybe also that, wishful thinking. But nonetheless, as we proceeded, we did a significant amount of sewer investigation work on Michigan Avenue, and of course, it's part of our SAW grant initiative. That we did 5 years ago, it's a targeted area placement. So we proceeded and did all the topographic survey work and did all the necessary investigation, come up with a design. Initially, the bid included all sanitary sewer, storm sewer replacement on Michigan Avenue from Main Street up to Park Avenue. And it also included water sewer storm replacement on Winnebago. Sanitary replacement in Miami. And water main replacement and street repair. On the north part. Of Park Avenue from Park Avenue to Beach Street, but it also included a total reconstruction. Pepper Hill, and included curbing and sidewalks. We got 2 bids back. Which is actually encouraging compared to the last 2 big projects we did. The last 2 projects that we bid out in 2021, we had 1 bidder, which was J&N Construction. And then our project in 2023, it was Almers. And they both were bidders on this proposal. A little over $20,000 separated their bids. And that's great to see, you know, in Dale's experience as a civil engineer, when you have bids like that, you get a good feeling inside. Now, all the numbers before those 2 zeros at the end is a different story altogether. So obviously the project came in, the low bid was $1,849,446.23. Our second bidder was $1,869,877. Those bids were due on August 15th. So since then, we had a post bid interview with J&N. We also conducted a post bid interview with Almers Crane Dozer. Council member Dale Charters was in attendance of that one. The post bid interview with J&N Construction was done via Zoom. And essentially what we did is we had conversations with the contractor to discuss certain aspects of the bid, but we also, you know, relied on them for some suggestive ideas to help us reduce the cost. But just by removing all the work north of Pepper Hill, which would be something we'll do in the future. You know, our dollars can only go so far, but after removing that expense and having further collaboration with Almers revisited their earthwork number, which you gotta believe has some dollars dedicated to Pepper Hill. Just trying to think about the excavation of that.
Logistics.
So they reduced that number by $50,000 to bring the bid down to $1,291,744.84. In addition to that, it'll be broken down into 2 phases without changing any cost of the project. They're gonna hold the price. So if we approve this, they'll come in this fall and maybe do a block or 2, get it restored. Shut it down for the winter, which would, you know, allow the neighborhood to continue to maneuver around, come back this spring. Again, if we have a mild winter, you know, with frost laws, we have a way to utilize the Main Street as a Class A road. We can get work on earlier in the spring. The goal of having this all completed by Memorial. Now, the funding associated with this project is all over the place. You know, we have a mountain grant, has $103,287 remaining for pavement. That was one of the conversations we had going into the value engineering discussion because MDOT is of the understanding that project would be done this year. And we asked the question that if we broke it up the way we're proposing, would there be any issues extending that grant into the spring? And we got a response that no. Okay, so that helped us with some of our decision making. Our 403 bond, which has been approved by the constituency for the purpose of these projects. Remember we borrowed $4.5 million and had what a 1.9% interest rate. Yeah, those days are over. But we were able to do those projects with that dollar. Those dollars that we set aside. So the 403 bond has enough revenue coming in every year where it's paying off that $4.5 million debt, principal and interest payment. And what does it generate? About $180,000 a year extra above that, maybe 170, 180 roughly. So we've been saving. So that account right now has $403,000 available. And we had major local street funding with around $170,000 in sewer enterprise, which also includes budgetary capital improvement dollars, has about $450,000 in the Lake Michigan Reserve to cover the sewer portion of the project. Miami has about $200,000 dedicated. So budgetary dollars available is $1,326,287. It's a tight project, but we have the funding there. As time goes on, our funds grow. probably not to the extent we would love to have it, but we should be in a good position to finalize this, and cover all expenses and then be in a position 2, 3 years from now to do the next phase.
And I noticed, which is what threw me into a panic. That the project all paving on or before May 2nd of 2026, and of course, I'm looking at dollars right now. Anyway. So this is gonna be tight, and we can't have anything else come in. We're gonna have to say no to any special projects down the road until we get this completed and paid this. Any,
The only other comment I want to add in, just so the public is aware, because they're gonna see it. But as one of the cost savings measures that was previously down there was up on the upper end of Michigan Avenue. And it wasn't, and there was a huge logistics concern with that, with Heffern Hill or going all the way around. Down to the lower end of Michigan Avenue. And so part of the solution is that the turnaround at the end of Main Street on the other side, not the main road area, but up against the lot wall.
community wall,
Well,
that's what it's called.
Is it?
It's called the wall.
Okay, we're gonna use that as part of the layout. And that'll be, you'll still be able to drive down there, you'll still be able to see the lake and all that, but you won't necessarily be able to. Get
Go
back
to that part. Yeah.
Most parking lanes will be occupied with bikes.
Yep, but
That's
I
the
just-
staging area.
yeah, that's your staging, and I just wanted people to be aware of that, so there's gonna be a period. In the winter time, or I'm sorry, this fall for 3 or 4 weeks, whatever, as well as next spring. So you're gonna see that, so, but that was all part and parcel to some of the cost savings and the logistics of being able to do it. So.
And so once we approve this, when will they start? So I don't know.
We'll sign the notice of award and we'll start during corresponding. I mean, I would anticipate that they would start mowing in a couple weeks. Yeah.
I would say 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's what people think.
They're very open-minded to being flexible and we should have a meeting on another.
So. You know,
All right, time to go for it. Make a motion, to award Michigan Avenue Capital Improvement Project to Elmer's Crane and Dozer Incorporated in the amount of $1,291,744.84 and authorize city superintendent Josh Mills to sign the contract on behalf of the city of Frankfurt and issue the notice of award.
I'm sorry.
Questions? Roll call.
Stratton. Yes. Charters.
yes,
Hogan.
Yes.
We'll have to watch our plowing
Is-
on sidewalks and shit.
Yeah. So everybody said yes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, public input, agenda items only.
Quick question, Josh, start this fall, what area have you identified to start?
We gotta have that conversation with ours, but most likely it would be Maine to. Hopefully Leelanau. But we'll have that conversation. I would rather do the northern portion, but it's tricky with sewer. Just, you know, I think you prefer to work for Main Street going up, but it shouldn't be a big deal, but I think that's what they would prefer.
This is, Bill is that a big twisty road? It's, so, yeah. So that would be delayed, then car's not gonna get it to us. That will be in the spring. Correct.
Well, Hyford, north of Hyford will be a different phase down the road. But that's another cut. So it's everything south of Hyford,
Okay.
including the side streets.
yeah, including the side jobs,
Okay.
Miami and Quebec.
That one is not gonna get done at all.
If we have that.
So then you're gonna start in the spring from Park to George Street.
Nothing north of Everett Hill, you know.
Oh, oh, oh. Wow, let's go to the next page,
Next phase.
yeah. And then we have our house down, here we go, 1,291,000. So, any other public input?
Squeeze in something, or it's sort of general, call it safety agenda. So this is protect the fire, everyone's here. So point is that when you go down to the beach, you go to the turnaround, you sit there in your car and you open the door. You used to be able to see down the beach,
Yeah.
and now you can't. And the reason why I want to bring this up is that if we could bring it back to where it used to be, think of it as a safety concern. So that we can, the firemen and policemen, they can see the pier and see down the beach and see what's going on. Without always having to get out and walk down the sidewalk to see the beach. Just thought maybe come spring, maybe you could have to just lower that down a little bit more, so that.
I got a little history about that dune. That dune was planted when they tore down the last bathroom. That block view. So they planted a dune. It's a lot prettier than that,
It is.
Yeah.
but that's why that dune's there. It's when they tore down the bathroom. They planted a dune.
Just telling you, had cameras and letters and come over and whatever. But when you come to the beach, you should be able to see the beach.
Yeah,
I mean, of course, it's, you know, but when you come on the beach, you're limited to the lighters and there, you can really see so far north that she used to be. It'd be nice if you came down there and saw it all. Clear. Like, it's all right, but fire and policemen, they can see what's going on now, you can see people, they'll see them.
yeah, from time to time, we'll. That's actually pretty resilient. So from time to time, we'll go in, meet up with a loader and then put it down below.
Right.
To kind of maintain that new shed. But then it grows towards the shore.
Like Mother Nature.
So that we just threw the, even pine trees in there.
Okay, any other public input? Thank you for coming.
Motion to adjourn.
And second,
Charters.
Yeah.
Porter.
yes.
Olson.
Yep.
Stratton. Yes.
What? It's all close to the side, like, I'm bringing it.
Mike, would you like to say that?
That's what we want. You know, like we like to live. Well, when we stay around, right? That's what we're going to do.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, but it's like, it's my house.
Oh, see.
Small town Dale, small